To the finals of the Lycan League. You're watching BaseTradeTV. I'm Rifkin casting with Zombie Grub. And of course this tournament is brought on and created by the maniacal genius himself, Lycan Grub. You can find him on Twitter at Lycan G4. Make sure to give him a bit of a follow. But on match point, spawning in the bottom right corner of the map, he's got to bring it back here or he's down and out. It's the Purple Terran QXC.
In the top left, as the red Zerg, it's Acer's Bly.
Again, for those who missed it earlier, he really cocky coming into this series, tweeted, is there somebody who could stop me that's not Nurchio? And so far the answer's not looking too good for QXC. Now you called 3-1 in the favor of Bly, and damn, that's getting really scary how eerie and perfect that call's gonna be.
Too good, man.
You know what? I now want QXC to bring it back, just so you're wrong, if nothing else.
Okay. Alright, buddy. Jeez. Well, it's just that Zerg really is powerful right now. It definitely has, Terran and Zerg together, aren't so bad. Protoss is really feeling the hurt, but even still, Zerg is a little bit better than Terran. And I think what might also be the problem is that QXC is not just playing it like Heart of the Swarm, which is what we want to see, right? And we love to see the new units, but the most effective Terrans have seemed to be the ones who have opened up similar to Heart of the Swarm. Maybe they'll open up with Cyclones, but then they'll go into regular Bio, Marine Marauder, Widowmine, actually, not tanks like we've seen earlier on this league. And then just, using their abusive, drops and just good splits and all that to take care of it. Not going mech, basically, which QXC is doing every single game. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think mech itself is bad, per se, but we're also seeing, this has been consistent with bio players as well. Where are the Widow Mines? Where's a lot of the classic things we see shut down? What are problems present themselves in Legacy of the Void? Okay, mutas just like HOTS are a problem. A couple of good Widow Mine shots, a Thor here and there. If Ling Floods are your deal, Widow Mines, again, not that bad of a investment, but we've seen, we've seen almost no Widow Mines in Legacy of the Void at all.
Yeah.
Terrans just forgot they exist.
Yeah, unless you really have a set build order or you really know what you're doing, so you practice a lot of Legacy of the Void and, I guess test it in unit tester, build order, whatever, then playing like Heart of the Swarm as the basis seems to be the best way to go. Trying to use the units just for the sake of using the units because you heard that they were pretty good doesn't actually always show in actual gameplay against someone who's equally as skilled. So I mean, the same could happen for Bly though. Bly could also go for very simple Heart of the Swarm all-ins, including that Nidus Swarm that he did once before. Well,
I'm oh shit, I'm gonna hold that thought for now. We do have the Reaper giving away, and unfortunately no scouting from this as it will get killed. And we'll see if Bly does. It's not even about Bly anymore. It's not even the question mark about Bly. I'm curious what QXC does, right? The Banshee opener with the Hellions, going a little bit more classic. I like this. It's not so bad. If Bly was in a crazy Ravager rush, okay, maybe not so good. But he did scout with the Reaper that it wasn't this one-base Ravager all in.
Yeah. But it is a Roach War and it is a lair, so are we going to see that Nidus Worm again? I mean, last time he did it, QXC basically tapped out immediately, but mostly because Lings got into the natural as well. QXC needs to get a wall off a little bit faster in all of these games, and actually a lot of the headaches that he's had wouldn't be here.
Well, that didn't help the Banshee out this time as well. It was only, everything for him was just lined up imperfectly. Hellions not going to get discovered if the lair was made. A couple more kills before going down. Nothing super crazy. 5 Jones and 4 Lings. Back at Widowmine point 2, by the way, I just remembered. We have proof that the Widowmines do exist still, though, by the way. As you recall, we had Xenocider versus Puck on for that show match, and Xenocider built 10 Widowmines at a time.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly still very good, and people are just kind of forgetting about these old units for the new fancy things. But Hellion Banshee certainly something that we're used to seeing. The Nidus Swarm is on the way, this time accompanied with Burrow.
I am a little bit worried about this. There's a good Overlord spot here to get that directly into the main. The Banshee might get some okay counterattack damage, but truth be told, if she's sitting at home above that Nidus Swarm, anything that comes out of that's dead on arrival. But the wall is down, so not the automatic loss to the Lings like last time. We did talk about how it was mostly that natural base that caused all the chaos. He's going to see the Nidus Swarm too, so if QXC falls to this, I'm going to be very upset.
Yeah. Well, he saw it the last time, and those Lings got in, and he was still a little bit confused.
this thing should die the second it spawns. I mean, you do have to constantly right-click, because again, even the observers, nobody can select this until it's already out of the ground. It's invulnerable. And only a small amount of roaches make it out. SCVs surround. Banshee's got that kill on lockdown. The second Banshee coming back home. This Nidus Worm has been shut down. Oh, that's annoying.
I don't know if he prepared for that or just had lucky, probably lucky scan, but very nice if he did. Won't have a second one. No third CC.
Trying to build a I mean, there's still the wall at the front, so he knows there's no lings coming through this as well. It's just the roaches he's really focused on. The worst thing for QXC right now is that Nidus Worm comes down and he's not paying attention and lets that one get out of hand. But I think for Bly, he's got to recognize that's a very expensive investment. 100 middles and 100 gas is not something you can just throw around so easily. And QXC's even got Marauders coming out there too. So I'm feeling so good about his position in this game. He's even going for a Raven, so he doesn't have to burn 19 scans like he did in game number 1. I mean, I can't applaud this move harder without breaking the mic. I mean, the Raven for detection alone is gonna make it worth it.
Yeah. But what is Bly following this attack up with? You know, he got speed and he got burrow, and those will certainly be things that are useful later on. Gonna get some upgrades as well, apparently, but sticking on roaches.
Oh man, I didn't even look at our Twitch numbers till just now, guys. That front page bump, though. Guys, we're so close to 10,000 viewers. Oh my god. Go find some friends. Bring them in here. Enjoy Legacy of the Void with us as we get through here to the finals. This could be the last game.
Ooh, I like this. Bly does add on a Hydralisk Den, so as opposed to getting stuck on roaches like the first game that we cast, the one where he did end up losing, he is transitioning a lot faster. I'd love for that to turn into a Lurker Den, but I have a feeling that it won't.
Oh, does QXC see this one? It's not as obvious, and this one's actually just barely envisioned. And with that mini-map color being what it is, he might not actually realize this is coming in.
It looks like a supply depot of QXCs.
Oh, no, not this lag again. Beta, please. Of all times, not right now. I mean, started my client and everything to make sure this wouldn't happen, but it's the beta, and there's gonna be bugs. And, Bly with the OMG, seriously. I'm sorry. Anyways, QXC didn't see this coming though, and seriously, the problem for this was I really think that minimap. Like, how do you even look for that on this map? The transparency issues we already know to exist have been a problem, and even though this actually, I thought there was gonna be so much more coming out of this. I guess just like 4 roaches all they really got made.
Yeah, he really didn't have a lot. He was transitioning and he was droning up a little bit more, so that was just supposed to be a bit of harassment that was supposed to last a lot longer, you know, not expecting maybe the Raven to be there, and you could certainly have torn down the missile turret before reinforcements had arrived. So, I mean, it could have been a good idea. Unfortunately, it wasn't. The army was in position, and the game does go on. Now, I believe that is his only... That's his 3rd CC. That is not his 4th.
You know, we really thought he wasn't going to go heavy with the mech this time, but despite the Marauders, despite the Marines targeting optics coming out, all those factories are down, and, I mean... For QXC's sake, I really like that he had opted to try and get Marauders early. You don't know how bad this is going to get initially, but the Banshees have just been so good at defending.
Well, we also have an Infestation Pit on the way, so potentially to straight up to Hive, but also a Spire, so I don't know. A lot of things going down for Bly here.
It's an awkward situation, because as he moves towards Hive Tech, possibly, what is he going to really strive for? Swarm hosts could be kind of cool, but they're not really what they used to be. They're not used the same way either. In fact, Katz is very much the only person I've ever seen use Swarm hosts in Legacy of the Void so far.
Well, not using it quite yet, just getting some Hydras.
Oh, but these Hellions managed to slip into the 3rd. They're gonna cook you guys some lunch. Anyone up for some barbecue?
Oh, one drone survives.
So he realizes he's got Burrow at the end of the attack, right? Of course. These are cooling towers, by the way, so you can knock these down to create a sort of wall if you're really worried about these attacks happening. But for Bly, I think he's more worried about having mobility himself. But that run by alone, if that wall was down, that might not have been so bad.
It probably would not have been. Now, Bly actually has a lot of gas here. Okay, there's the Hive, and it's got to be for Vipers. It's gotta be, and that will be a good use of his gas.
Yeah.
But drone count back up to 57, still not that healthy. Still not on a 4th. QXC's 3rd was pretty late. It's really hard to say actually because the time's all messed up, but it felt late anyways.
Look at that! You can see the burrowed ling underneath the command center. That's cool.
Yeah, isn't that cool? But you know, the same thing is that Bly's 4th is also late, so it's actually being paired up pretty well for QXC.
Every single roach pretty much gets locked on. This could be one survivor, and even then he might get Widowmined. Oh, Jesus, that was beautiful.
Wow,
did the Widowmine claim the
perfect.
kills? Oh, I got 3 of the kills. Okay, kill stealer.
I guess it could have been perfect by killing all of the roaches, that one survivor.
Stupid support.
God darn, man, that was insane. Well, that's a big presence on the map that Bly just lost and has to replace.
Yeah. QC also perhaps doesn't know these are cooling towers, creating his own wall behind it. I mean, it's double layered, it might not be too bad.
No one looks at these maps.
I know, I feel like we got so many of these pros who play this game for a living, and there's just little subtle things like this. How many people, we ourselves too, it wasn't until like three months after Deadwing was up that people realized there was cooling towers on that map too that you can knock down, right? Like,
or what about when Merry-Go-Round came out, and like, it took us like two or three games to be like, hey, those are actually blockers.
yeah, you can't fly into the walls of the map.
Yeah, that was weird.
Well,
but,
despite the fact that he did lose that presence, Bly's supply remains fairly consistent with that of QXE. His worker count looks fine. He's taking a 4th base. I love his creep spread right now. And on top of this, his army supply isn't really suffering either. But you pointed out the blinding clouds earlier. I'm really hoping to see some Vipers for parasitic bombs. 6 of them being made right now. If you guys don't know, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Okay, lots of blinding clouds will be good. A parasitic bomb is a new ability to the Viper. It's kind of like a radiate for those that remember Brood War, but for those who don't, it's basically an air ability only. It doesn't affect ground in the slightest, but it causes an area of effect around the unit infected, and if that unit dies, the parasitic bomb just stays in the air where that unit died.
So, I mean, it's only 3 air units.
Well, it removes the Banshees and the Ravens pretty much immediately. Dive in, dive out.
I suppose.
What other anti-air? I guess the Banshees... Or I guess the Hydras maybe get the attack if they can dodge the siege tanks.
It's assured destruction. I guess that's a good point. There was 6 Vipers, where usually you'd only need 3 or 4 to get them out of the blinding clouds that you'd want.
Right, and that's kind of what I'm going with here. Like the blinding clouds are going to be taken care of, combined with the potential parasitic bombs. Plus, you don't know, Bly might actually have the face air. That's where a lot of Terran ends up going for the late game. Battlecruisers, Vikings, Ravens en masse. Either way, he's going to cut away from this, and we'll see what it comes down to, because Viper's still not really involved with the fight. I wonder... Do you think blinding... It probably doesn't affect lock-on, right? Nothing seems to break lock.
I was thinking more about abducts. I think JackTech actually did note one of the breaks lock-ons. There you go.
Hell, either way, it grabs a lot of really nice kills.
Very nice. And with 6 Vipers, I mean, that is certainly enough to kind of be free with the spells you use.
Can we talk about how, with 14 damage on a 0.54 cooldown, Ravagers actually have more damage that's pretty much the same attack speed as a Hydralisk? I guess it's ground only, though. It's the big catch. But there's that air transition. So with the starports on the way, I don't know what QXE has his eyes on. The new Battlecruiser ability is pretty cool for Harass. It's actually amazing for Harass. But either way, he's going to have to deal with that air at some point, Bly, that is.
Well, this army is here and ready to go, but 15 more roaches are on the way, and Bly might want to wait for those. Blinding Clouds have to be pretty good as well. Greater Spire, I mean, he could get this up to wait for the Greater Spire, but those are a lot of abducts, damn.
Yeah, I guess 6 abducts does take away pretty much a 4th of your army every time. Even the Ravens getting involved here. Point defense showing no secret missiles going off. Oh, on top of the Vipers. He's got him stacked up. He's not spreading. Big hits go down, but only a couple die. How does that live with 1 health?
Right? It's not for sure that one's going to die too, but that is pretty nice.
That's
a lot of the fodder is gone.
Oh, well, here's the Widowmine to finish it off. All 3 of the Vipers go down, so living on borrowed time.
Kill still Widowmine, you know?
You know what? It's a good Widowmine, though.
Kill is still
Base in the top rank gets cleaned up, too.
That is 2 bases. Not so bad, even if he did lose a lot of his Cyclones, which they're gas. Yeah. So, that's, it's kind of hard to, I guess, like, kind of value what new units kind of feel like when you lose them, but that is pretty expensive.
Yeah. Well, 4 more Vipers coming out. We're continuing with the range, so we're not going to see Bly get to take advantage of the crazy armor on the Ultralisks or the Cracklings just yet. It's still potential. If he gets ahead enough in the game, you can start investing elsewhere for a potential tech swap.
Yeah. I feel like Cracklings would just be good, just because eventually you're going to, like, well, sometimes you do start banking a lot of minerals, so that's just going to be a good sink for counterattacks. But, of course, they won't be that upgraded.
You know what I just realized is amazing? As bad as a lot of these colors are on the mini-map, it just gets so much better with purple on purple creep. I'm just saying.
How did he miss the drone transfer?
Oh, he gets it there, so never mind. Lines him up.
Oh, well. Whoopsie.
Oopsie poops. Okay, so +3 weapons on the way for QXC, and unlike old games, we don't have the same potential of a stalemate that StarCraft 2 got kind of known for. I'm sure everybody at some point has seen their hour-long plus Swarm host game, but the way mechs changed and the way that Zerg has changed, we're not going to see those sort of games. And if we do see this game go on long, it's because of really good trades, back and forth play, and not the I'm just going to throw wave after wave of free Swarm hosts at you. Or Locust, pardon me.
So yeah, taking a look at this map as they're both retaking their economy, basically. Both of their, like, the main and the naturals are all mined out for everyone, it looks like. The third for QXC, missing a couple of mineral patches, but it is getting rather low. Ooh. I mean, what?
If you want to stop a Hellion run by, here's one way to do it.
Yes! It's actually a very good way to do it. It's expensive, so if you're like, if you really aren't banking on minerals, which you usually aren't like Void, it might not be worth it, but it's certainly effective.
Oh, those abducts are sweet. Kind of bugs out on the wall there. What's that guy stuck on the side? But it gets most of the siege tanks. However, it leaves the Hydras exposed to the blue flame Hellions. Still, though, trade's going back and forth, and somewhat even supplies. Not going there yet, but the blinding clouds start coming down. Juxie's lost a lot of his non-tank supply, I guess you could call it. So, with the planetary trying its best to hold, no blinding cloud on that. I'm gonna walk away. Yo, we had asked too.
Doesn't work, right?
No. So it turns out, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, it just reduces range to 1. It doesn't stop it entirely. So that's why when we went in with the Lings on the planetary, it was still able to shoot them.
Oh, wait. So wouldn't that do that in regular Heart of the Swarm too?
I don't know. I don't know if that's a legacy change or if it's something we've just never picked up on, but that was something someone had tweeted us, and it made sense.
Really? Okay, that makes sense. I thought, well, I wasn't looking when you were doing it, so I thought it was like on the roaches, so okay.
Oh. We have Locusts coming out. Okay, so we talked before just a moment ago about how this wouldn't be the same game. Swarm hosts were changed very significantly, and it's going into the live version of the game this Tuesday. But Swarm hosts no longer send out just wave after wave of free Locusts. In fact, they have a very long cooldown on how and when they can spawn Locusts. But Flying Locusts, because there is some confusion about this amongst many, Flying Locusts cannot attack. They have to actually land to attack. So this upgrade just gives them a little more mobility to fly over a cliff, to fly over a thing, snipe off a building. But when they land, oh baby, Swarm hosts can just Locust tear through buildings like nobody's business.
This is a rather important base. He could transfer all of these drones up to the top right, but this is one of the healthier, consistent bases that he's had, and if it's dead, well, actually, it's a pretty big deal. Creep spread is also looking pretty good. Still covers about half the map. I would love for the Swarm host to not only be used maybe in defense here, you can see them like going over this little pillar maybe, but also at the third. I mean, if he gets a high ground vision over there, that'd be really nice.
Maybe. This with parasitic bomb would be pretty nice too. Start picking off those Vikings, because they will be able to shoot the Swarm hosts or the Locust part of them while they're in the air.
One Viper would die doing the spell, but it's better than 5 running into the Vikings later on and all dying.
Yeah, actually, you know, thinking of that new Terran air unit they announced would be so good for stopping these Locusts when they're flying too. But as you guys saw, the Swarmers don't have to burrow for this anymore. They're pretty quick. Big shout out to everybody watching, by the way. We did just reach that 10K number. Hype for a weekly tournaments. And a big thank you to Todd for something back to the channel, man. We missed you.
Just getting ready for that Legacy of the Void replay pack.
No, you know what it is? Todd says, oh, Swarm hosts aren't stupid anymore, or at least in the same way they used to be. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Like, okay, Todd,
no, I'm just saying, I'd love to see Todd play again, okay? That's all I'm saying.
I know, I agree, right? But, I mean, I think he's looking at all of his Protoss brethren tweeting about how absolutely great Protoss is, and he's just like, man, I want to play.
He'll show them up. He'll show a bunch of whiny babies, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Alright, Hellion Robot is going to be really nice for this blue flame. Bly, unfortunately, does have a lot of his drones still concentrated around the third, but meanwhile, we get a big attack set up on the right side from QXC, and while a minor amount of harass to draw the army out of position, can QXC do enough damage fast enough to break this? Swarm hosts are going to fall back a little bit. Drones are pulled away from this. If we keep the drones alive, that'd be pretty nice. But there's also the Locust harass on the southern part of the map, too. So again, lots of action going on all over the place, but sadly, Bly coming out a little bit for the worse.
Yeah, he's lost all of his mining bases. Hellbat's in the top right as well. He's taking one to the very right. That's a little bold, right next to the Terran third base. But he pushes this back for now.
And that Widowmine, before going down again, kills more Vipers. I can't get over how big of a deal that one Widowmine was. Why not make more?
There's just nothing to support these units. Where are those Vipers?
They got picked up with the Widowmine.
Oh, all of them, like literally all of them.
Yeah, like literally all of them.
Oh, I thought there was going to be like 1 or 2 left over, but there was just no support units other than these Locusts, and I don't really call them support.
you guys land. What?
Nope.
We just get to fly here for a while. Just don't mind us. All right, so Bly's trying to retake these mining bases, but it's really important that you did point out because his income drops to just almost nothing. He's long distance mining off of this 4th base. He's not really in a position to do much other than try and use these locusts and catch QXE off guard. Yes, he's got a pretty good Roach Hydra count. Still no lurkers available. And in just, I don't know, a rough shot shape. Now, if QXE allows him, and QXE has been playing pretty fast with the series, if he allows Bly to catch back up, then maybe this is a different story. But right now, Bly is on borrowed time. He's on borrowed life.
Well, you know, they're both in a position right now where it's got to be a very effective trade, okay? Because QXE is also running out of minerals. All right, and he's trying to expand in the bottom left, but I think there's a ling there or something, and that's actually very easy to go ahead and kill, as you have rocks blocking this little position that the Hydras might be able to get in there and snipe it before the tank can react. There's also harass going on in that right side base. That was just like, Bly, why would you ever think that was going to live?
It's a good way to deny a base. You can't argue with that. It's gonna take off for the creep to come back.
But that's what I feel like the swarm hosts and the lurkers could have been doing if this game wasn't so back and forth. You know, if you had time to think about it, they'd be attacking these outlying bases.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing, though. Like, both of them are just all over the place. This isn't that death ball. This isn't that one consolidated push that's so boring to watch. It's been pretty back and forth, pretty harassing. Distract with the left, attack on the right. Bly actually might just kill this floating orbital. I don't know. The Hellions might clear the Hydras if he's not careful, though. Blue Flame, bonus damage slight after all.
Yeah, well, Cyclone's coming too.
Okay, looks like Bly's going to push in on the right side, too, so while he might lose a small force in the bottom, he did already do the damage, so to speak.
Yeah, he's going to maybe take out 2 orbitals in one swift little shot here.
Oh my god, is this game really going to shift back in his favor after losing all of his mining?
It might. Okay, the repairs have got to go down on this.
Now the Roach would have blocked that out. I mean, QXE himself is still mining on one base, but that's the thing. They're both in this really low economy situation. Neither of them is in a fantastic spot to really just throw an army away and remax on it. Everything they want to make is expensive at this point. Everything's very gas intense and still no repair on this orbital.
Could you please repair that? Because that'd be really cool.
Okay, well, again, Bly's going to lose another base. He did manage to get the top right going for him, and here's that repair. Thank God.
Big ol' hug.
He still didn't stop him from burning, though. He needs one more.
A little more repair. He needs some more hugs.
More hugs. Okay, top right for Bly, under attack. I like that he's getting some spine cars down, but nothing's going to stop these Hellion run-bys the same way a Lurker would. It's so expensive to build just one, but just one would go a long way to stop these Hellions from causing so much chaos.
It really would. I don't think you... I mean, first of all, they are running out of orbital commands. No more Ravens, so keeping in mind to bring a Raven with an attack doesn't really happen. Using a scan on a Hellion harass doesn't really happen either. And Hellions, you know, they line up themselves, okay? And Lurkers are good at defeating things that line up.
So I guess at this point, Bly's realized, like, oh man, these locusts have been pretty good. You know, he's gotten some pretty good trades with them. He sniped off a couple of units here and there.
Bad push from QXE. A lot of tank go down there.
Yeah, I agree. But I was gonna say that's why we see Bly investing more in that Stormhouse. You just get weird value out of them. It's weird because it's not been as oppressive and abusive as the past. But as we see, I think we're pretty damn good.
Look at them.
For Terran player, by the way, though, I want to emphasize, we saw Petraeus and some others do this in some of the beta matches that Nate had thrown. Some very unique strategies were to put a bunch of turrets up. I guess they even got some Thors because they do bonus damage versus light, which locusts are. There's a lot of way to kill them in the air before they even attack. It's just never going to be easy because there's just so many of them.
Yep. Well, giving up this base I don't think is that big of a problem. It's still a big deal, right? None of them are rolling in money here, but Bly's really found a very good composition that so far has been keeping its supply pretty steadily, and it's also gotten that top right base, and maybe at this point he could take that very risky base before, as the entire army is on the left side, so it's kind of free right now.
I really like the idea of the Locusts, just being able to get over the terrain the way they are. It's, as we see, they still get cleaned up pretty quick, and they're really not causing that much damage. Yes, they're still per unit, but it's not as bad as before. But oh man, these Hellion run-bys fly down to 28 workers, and not even, for a while he was supply block there. You can tear down these rocks too, for those who don't know.
Yeah, no, and it's a risk though, because you're, you know, suddenly the mech army has a little bit more access to your army that's defending that top right base. It's a risk. So no one's really bothering to break them down right now. But, you know, Bly being so on a low drone count is very scary. You know, he's still on 2 mining bases, but really only 1. That's true, there's a bigger army supply. And so far, that's the point I wanted to bring up, though, is that he's been taking better trades, almost always, in the last, like, 5 minutes. So this is actually okay for now, but it's a dangerous position to be in.
Well, what's really scary with the Locust here for Bly is that you really do have to micro them. It's not something you can just set and forget, and I think that was a big part of the no skill required sort of aspect of the Swarm Host before. Now you have to actually choose when to put them out too, because as we see, it's a very long time before they come off a cooldown again. Still another 10 seconds on top of what we saw. So about 15 seconds after the Locusts die, you can't even spawn the next one still.
I really wish you would send some locusts down to the bottom left. Try to send the army there, but there was a good wall off, some city there, so gonna have to swap tactics and use the army to kill this base. She did lose the opportunity to do so.
QXC looking for some snipes from the Vikings too. He had gone for the extra starports too, and he himself finds himself unable to afford that transition to get battlecruisers out, to go for that crazy late game tech. If nothing else, I would love to see Banshees with speed at this point, with how few Overseers there are. I mean, there's not even one with the army. He could pick off so many Hydros and not even be in risk of danger.
That'd be so stupid. The Logos doing great damage to these tanks. I mean, just like 1 second, suddenly 4 tanks go down.
Those help use blood clots too. So a lot of this is, man, I think QXC is starting to just bleed out at this point. As weird as that is to say, because he had such control over the game for a time, but I guess both players found themselves in a low economy, and QXC was just not able to play on that low money count the same way Bly could. Abduct's fantastic for the way this game's been shaping up. No, oh my god, there's only 1 tank left. Oh my god, there's only 1 tank left.
It just, I don't, at some point, the Swarm Hosts honestly probably do, the Locusts I should say, probably do too much damage. Their coolest thing is that they do have to be microed and that they can go over the terrain, but they do so much damage. It's kind of stupid.
Right, but I'm saying right now, it's stupid, and I agree with you. Blueflame's actually cleaning this up really nicely, but let's imagine for a second there's 2 Thors and that new Terran unit in the air. You know, so many of these Locusts die before they even get a chance to land. So there are ways that these can be broken, just like any unit in the game can be. You know, you watch Blue Flame Hellions early on when someone's only got legs, you're like, wow, that unit's pretty broken. But you bring out 3 roaches and it's not a problem.
If they could take down the Flying Locust to a count, that's good enough. But what I'm afraid of is that they're still free units at the end of the day, and if you just target a Thor, like, it's going to go down, even if there's only like 5 Locusts left over. I mean, they really are quite powerful, but maybe you're right to call that. QXC has never really got the optimal composition. I mean, that's what it certainly seems like, because Bly and him both on pretty bad economy, but Bly's taking the better engagement, so probably has a better composition.
Well, there's Blue Flame on these Helvets, it doesn't show, and they cleaned up those Locusts really nicely. And when they die this quick, again, going back to the point of balance for a second, it's still another 30-something seconds, real-time seconds too, before you can launch more Locusts. So, yeah, for a second, they're pretty good. And then you kind of manage them. But the problem is he's never really followed up an attack. He's never taken advantage of Bly being on cooldown for so long. QXC's just been playing tower defense with tanks. It's not working.
Well,
oh, these roaches.
Damn, they're speedy.
Yeah, on creep. Jesus. Of course, QXC doesn't know these are here. It looks like they're just following the tanks for now. It's a little bit awkward. But the base at the top right going to go down. This one on the left has probably died about 17 times this game. I've lost count. Those run-bys from QXC were kind of cute earlier, but he's kind of out of steam. Bly at the same time is too, but Bly's still somewhat maxed when QXC isn't, and I think that's where this game's really going to fall apart. This was a great finals. This outclassed last week's finals by and large, and there hasn't been a balance change in between.
Yes, it has. Well, TDC always seems to create some pretty good games, but QXC really? At some point, he just lost control of this game. Like, there was a point where it was actually looking he was dominant. He was running around the map, being really mobile for his mech player, and then it all like switched once Bly tried out these new Locusts. Once he got really a hold on the Vipers too. Great game.
GG. Ladies and gentlemen, Bly will take the series 3-1, making Zombie Grub an oracle with predictions, but also giving him his first Lycan League champion. As last week it was, of course, Nurture who dethroned him in one.